The new airline policies no one warned you about. 2025 is shaping up to be the year of unexpected changes in airline policies. If you haven't flown recently, get ready. Air travel rules have shifted dramatically, and not just in terms of pricing. Solo passengers are being charged extra, the wrong type of battery can get you pulled from a flight, and even choosing a middle seat may now come with a fee. From facial recognition technology at boarding gates to strict new check-in deadlines, airlines are quietly rolling out changes that many travelers don't see coming. What's more surprising, some of these rules are introduced without any official announcements. Whether you're flying soon or planning a future vacation, missing just one of these updates could cost you hundreds or derail your entire trip. Let's dive into 10 of the most shocking airline changes this year. Tip 1. The hidden fee solo travelers can escape. Buying a plane ticket used to be as easy as selecting your date and clicking purchase. But for those traveling alone, there's a hidden trap: the solo flyer surcharge. Earlier this year, Delta Airlines was found charging individuals up to $90 more compared to those booking in pairs. It wasn't a group discount, it was a penalty for booking solo. Despite some public backlash and quiet rollbacks on certain routes, this pricing model still appears on select domestic flights. Other major airlines like United and American are also experimenting with similar fees, betting that business travelers flying alone are less sensitive to price. To dodge this charge, try booking for 2 people and compare per-seat pricing. You might even be able to cancel the second seat if it's refundable. But what's really behind this solo flyer surcharge? The logic is simple and profit-driven. Solo travelers tend to book later, fly for work, and prioritize convenience over cost. Airlines know this. Their dynamic pricing algorithms are designed to detect when you're flying alone, especially on popular routes at peak times. By adding a hidden surcharge, they squeeze extra revenue without raising base fares across the board. It's a stealth tactic that flies under the radar because it's not labeled as a solo fee. You just see a mysteriously higher price when booking alone. The ethical debate is heating up. Consumer rights advocates argue this practice is discriminatory, especially toward older adults, students, and budget-conscious travelers who often travel solo. It's penalizing independence, said one aviation analyst. You're being charged more for taking up less space and consuming fewer resources. Critics also point out the lack of transparency. These charges are rarely disclosed explicitly, and airlines often blame fluctuations on market demand. What can travelers do? Savvy flyers are pushing back. Some now use incognito mode to browse prices, clear cookies between searches, or simulate group bookings to trick the algorithm into revealing better fares. Travel forums are abuzz with hacks. Use multi-person booking engines, split trips across airlines, or book a second seat with refundable fare and cancel it after the purchase. But these are workarounds, not solutions. Will regulation catch up? Possibly. Lawmakers in the US and Europe have already begun probing the broader issue of drip pricing, where advertised fares hide fees until checkout. If the solo flyer surcharge continues to spread, it could become a target for consumer protection legislation, especially if it disproportionately affects vulnerable groups. For now, solo travelers need to stay sharp. The age of one-click booking is over. In 2025, even flying alone comes at a premium unless you know how to beat the system. Tip 2. The airport doesn't want your ticket, it wants your face. No more scrambling for your printed ticket. Airlines are now using facial recognition at boarding gates. Airports in cities like New York, Frankfurt, and Singapore are scanning passengers' faces instead of barcodes. While some carriers offer opt-outs, many travelers don't realize their image is being captured until it's already happening. In some cases, it's the only way to board. Though airlines claim it's faster and safer, privacy advocates warn about the unclear storage and usage of biometric data. And if facial recognition fails, you might miss your flight. What was once a futuristic concept is rapidly becoming the default process. Instead of handing over a boarding pass, passengers simply look into a camera. Within seconds, the system cross-references your face with the airline's passenger database and, in some cases, with immigration records or government watch lists. It's efficient, but also unsettling for some. One major concern is transparency. Most travelers are unaware of how long their biometric data is stored, who has access to it, or what security protocols are in place to protect it from breaches. In the US, for instance, Customs and Border Protection partners with private airlines to implement facial recognition technology, but the legal boundaries of data sharing remain murky. In Europe, GDPR laws offer stricter protections, but enforcement varies from airport to airport. Another issue is the risk of errors, particularly for women, people of color, and elderly individuals. Studies have shown that facial recognition algorithms can have significantly higher error rates for certain demographics. A misread at the gate could lead to delays, missed flights, or even mistaken identity in high-security scenarios. And then, there's the silent normalization of surveillance. With every successful scan, facial recognition becomes more embedded in everyday travel. Few passengers ask questions, and fewer still opt out, especially when the alternative means extra scrutiny or a longer wait. The result? A creeping trade-off between convenience and civil liberties. So what can travelers do? At some airports, you can decline biometric screening, but the process is often unclear or poorly signposted. If you're concerned about your privacy, research the policies of your airline and departure airport before you fly. And ask yourself, is shaving off 5 minutes at the gate really worth giving up your biometric blueprint? As facial recognition spreads beyond security checkpoints into retail, hotels, and even taxis, the choices we make at the airport could shape the future of personal freedom far beyond travel. Tip 3. Carry-on luggage under attack. Gone are the days of stuffing oversized backpacks into overhead bins without consequence. Airlines are now not only checking bag sizes, but also weighing them at the gate. If your combined carry-on and personal item exceeds strict new limits, sometimes as low as 15 pounds, you could be hit with hefty fees or forced to repack on the spot, causing stress and embarrassment just moments before boarding. What's surprising is that even reputable international carriers, previously known for their leniency, have adopted these practices under the guise of safety and efficiency. Flight attendants are being instructed to visually inspect and question bag weight, and some airports now have weigh stations set up at boarding zones, catching passengers off guard. The crackdown doesn't stop at bags. After a high-profile mid-air fire incident linked to an uncertified power bank, many airlines now enforce strict lithium battery policies. New guidelines prohibit power banks from being placed in checked luggage or overhead bins. Instead, they must be kept on your person, and they must be clearly labeled with capacity and certification symbols. If your power bank lacks proper markings or exceeds the allowed watt-hour limit, it could be confiscated, or you could even be denied boarding altogether. Security staff are also using AI-assisted scanners at select gates to detect unauthorized battery packs and electronic items. If flagged, you're pulled aside, and the situation can delay your entire flight. Worse, non-compliance could land you on an internal watch list used by multiple airlines. So why the sudden shift? It's a combination of liability, safety concerns, and profit-seeking behavior. In the post-pandemic travel economy, airlines are looking for new streams of ancillary revenue, and baggage violations are now one of the easiest and most enforceable cash grabs. Meanwhile, battery-related fires on flights have increased just enough to raise alarm bells at regulatory agencies, prompting preemptive policies that airlines are now rolling out under zero-tolerance protocols. What you can do: weigh your bag at home, not just the suitcase, but everything inside, including electronics and chargers. Use a digital luggage scale to stay within updated limits. Some airlines now restrict both personal items and carry-ons to a combined 7 kilograms or 15 pounds. Carry certified power banks only. Look for ULCE or airline-approved markings. Never pack power banks or loose lithium batteries in checked baggage. Double-check airline-specific rules before every flight. Even code-share partners may enforce different weight or battery policies. The bottom line: in 2025, the smallest mistake, like packing the wrong charger or an overweight tote, can cost you hundreds of dollars, missed flights, or even airport security scrutiny. Travel smarter, lighter, and with full awareness, or risk being left behind at the gate. Tip 4. Fewer flights to the U.S. = higher ticket prices. If you're flying between the U.S. and Canada or Europe, prepare for fewer options. Bookings have dropped significantly in 2025, leading airlines to cut routes and focus instead on high-demand regions like Mexico and Brazil. Carriers like Lufthansa, British Airways, and Air France are quietly pulling U.S. flights, meaning fewer choices and more expensive fares. Why the shift? Several factors are driving this change. First, transatlantic travel has seen a steep decline due to rising visa complications, stricter digital border checks, and ongoing geopolitical tensions. Secondly, inflation and fuel surcharges have made long-haul flights less profitable for carriers. In contrast, routes to Latin America, especially Mexico and Brazil, are booming thanks to affordable vacation packages, looser travel restrictions, and a spike in remote workers relocating to sunnier destinations. This means travelers looking to visit European cities like Paris, Frankfurt, or London may now face fewer direct flights, longer layovers, and higher costs. For those flying from mid-sized U.S. airports, entire routes may disappear without warning, forcing last-minute rerouting or even cancellations. The solution? Book as early as possible, preferably 3 to 6 months ahead. Stay flexible, both with your travel dates and your departure airport. Consider flying into alternate hubs like Lisbon, Dublin, or Reykjavik, where low-cost carriers still operate aggressively. And most importantly, monitor your booking weekly as airlines continue to adjust their schedules in real time. Apps like FlightAware or direct alerts from your airline can help you catch changes before they disrupt your plans. Finally, if Europe is on your 2025 bucket list, don't wait. Seats are becoming scarcer, prices are climbing, and your ideal route may not exist tomorrow. Tip 5. Forget a digital form and you stir grounded. Imagine showing up at the airport with your passport and boarding pass, only to be turned away because you forgot to complete an online entry form. That's the reality for many travelers in 2025. Countries like the UK now require electronic travel authorizations that must be completed before you even leave your house. The system, similar to the US Este, has become a strict gatekeeper, and failure to comply means you're not just delayed, you're grounded. Airlines face hefty fines for flying in passengers without approved ETAs, so they won't take any chances. No form, no flight. And this is just the beginning. The European Union is next. Slated to launch in full force, the ETAs will soon become mandatory for visitors from over 60 visa-exempt countries. That includes US, Canadian, Australian, and Japanese passport holders. Even if you've traveled to Europe dozens of times before, this new rule means your next trip could end before it begins unless you fill out the ETAs online, pay the fee, and receive approval before arrival. But the shift doesn't stop in Europe. Countries like Turkey, Canada, South Korea, and even New Zealand have introduced their own versions of electronic travel pre-clearance, each with different requirements, validity periods, and processing times. What's worse, many of these changes are poorly communicated. Travelers are discovering them at the last minute, some only at the airport check-in counter, leading to heartbreak, missed weddings, vacations ruined, and thousands lost in non-refundable bookings. In fact, one of the fastest-growing categories of denied boardings in 2025 is now due to missing digital pre-entry authorizations, not visa issues or invalid passports. So what can you do to avoid getting caught? 1. Always check the official government website of your destination country, not travel blogs or airline summaries. Rules change quickly, and unofficial sources often lag behind. 2. Don't wait until the day before your flight. Some applications require 24 to 72 hours to process, and approvals are not always instant. 3. Save digital and printed copies. Even with approval, some airlines still want to see confirmation at check-in. 4. Watch for updates from your own airline. Many are now integrating digital document checks into their apps, but that doesn't mean they'll warn you in time. This wave of digital documentation isn't just about immigration control. It's part of a broader global shift toward data-driven border security. Governments want to know who's coming, why they're visiting, and whether they pose a risk, all before the plane leaves the runway. Bottom line, in 2025, your passport is no longer enough. Without the right pre-clearance forms, even a dream vacation can disappear with a single sentence, "Sorry, we can't let you board." Tip 6. Middle seats are no longer cheap. Think that awful middle seat was your cheapest option? Not anymore. In 2025, airlines are monetizing every seat, including the least desirable ones. Dynamic pricing, once reserved for aisle and window seats, is now being applied across the entire cabin. That dreaded middle seat, formerly the freebie of air travel, is now subject to price fluctuations based on demand, flight time, route popularity, and even your booking behavior. It's part of a broader shift in how airlines are squeezing revenue from every square inch of the plane. Using AI-driven algorithms, carriers analyze passenger data in real time. If you're booking last minute, flying a busy route, or traveling during peak seasons, even a middle seat could cost you extra. In some cases, travelers report paying more for a middle seat than others paid for an aisle seat days earlier. Worse still, many airlines no longer automatically assign seats at check-in unless you pay. Decline to select a seat in advance, and you risk being separated from your family, stuck between two strangers, or placed in the very back row unless you cough up the fee. What used to be about getting there has turned into a psychological game of pricing, convenience, and discomfort. And don't expect transparency. These fees are often bundled with euphemisms like standard seat selection or preferred economy experience, even though the only experience you're getting is a tighter squeeze and a lighter wallet.